Okay, if everyone's ready, we will press play together on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. We did it. We did the preamble. John? Julie? Where are you?
I knew it. We're back in like a dungeon.
But it looks like Buffy has a stake on her.
Or is it a mistake to go any further?
Ooh.
Oh, that was clever. We all knew that was a dream, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, her window's open again. Didn't she learn a lesson?
I apologize. I meant to tell you there's a trigger warning for this word. Mention of child abuse and Nazi.
Wendell's not going to last long.
Will he become a vampire, do you think, John?
Can I get a timestamp?
$4:10. Yeah, sorry, I was just trying to get mine across. Yep.
Xander.
Oh, this is a dream. This has to be a dream. Why are,
Definitely a nightmare. Oh my gosh. Oh.
but why are they so scared of those spiders? Those spiders are gentle and there's absolutely nothing to be afraid of.
Oh yeah,
Why?
Not share your opinion.
tarantulas are like all of the like fear of tarantulas and their deadliness was completely fabricated by Hollywood. Like it is just absolute 100% false.
They're
Okay,
tech bears.
but they can still stay away from me.
Yeah, we still don't need like
True or false?
10 of
Stay
them
away.
crawling out of a book.
Wait till you see the ones we have here down under. Those can actually kill you.
Yeah, no, you can keep those. Thank you.
Agreed.
I think it's more
I'd
startling
pass
that they
away.
came
I'd
out of the
pass
book.
away if I saw one.
Any predictions on what we can be seeing? John? Anyone else?
Well, Wendell's dead. I mean, Wendell's gonna be removed from the school in like a, on a gurney with like, the cloth over his head, We're-
I was gonna make a joke and say like, imagine Buffy actually doing her homework and like you're the one who did it. Like Buffy of all people did her homework and you did it. Like, come on now. Come on, Sandra, get with the program.
Oh my gosh, she has a child. What in hell's bells?
Oh, Kendra, that's the anointed one. Don't you remember the anointed one from the?
No, I
So-
typically ignore every scene with this dude in it because I'm so bored by him.
Yeah,
Well,
he
that-
was doing it. No,
Yeah, he's the one who survived the bus crash to become, or he didn't really survive, but he became the anointed one from the one that rises from the fire.
she totally forgot that episode.
Absolutely.
And that
It was the
I-
one with
I-
Owen.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, it's the don't kill a boy on the first date episode, I think.
Mhm.
When the bus crash happened.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's why I don't remember it. I hated that episode.
So that's not just a regular old child down there with him.
No, that's a child with some echo audio effects on its voice.
Yeah.
But the other kid, the one that was just in the doorway, he to me looks like a young Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yes, he does. I always get it confused when I see this.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
That's not him.
No.
No, it's not him.
They could be twins.
Wow, we haven't met her father yet, have we?
Mm-mm.
It's new.
Super
really
curious.
Got it.
Let me guess, he's a vampire.
I'll let you know when I see his face whether or not it is begging for latex.
Maybe that's how you get a vampire slayer. It's a child of a vampire.
Sure would be poetic.
See, the spiders was not a dream. That was in class. That was real.
And clearly Willow is very uncomfortable with the spiders.
my theory is dashed. Oh my gosh, I got that joke like way too late. Arachnids, like from Iraq, which is not actually the correct pronunciation of the country anyway. Like, but it was back then because after the first Gulf War, everyone thought it was Iraq.
The late reaction.
I'm sorry, but this is.
This is kind of giving me Nightmare on Elm Street vibes.
I felt that too.
Oh, I mean, definitely. This is like kind of based on that sort of idea of nightmares coming reality.
And what is Cordelia's look here? It's killing me. I can't get over
It's
it.
straight pink lady. Like it's definitely like popular mean girl. That's what it's the uniform.
Girl in the front row looks like she's in her 30s.
She really might be.
Regina, what's the song? Oh, Regina's thank you.
I truly love that the Slayer's nightmare or biggest nightmare is not being prepared for a test. Like that is amazing.
Yeah, that nightmare was lame.
Man. I mean, it's a common one though, so it actually couldn't be too. Did you all have boiler rooms in high school?
Not in high school. My elementary school did because it was so old.
We had a boiler room. Ours actually caught on fire when I was in high school.
Our high school and our junior high and elementary school were all too new for boiler rooms.
I think our junior high had one as well because it was old.
We have to appreciate the scarf on Giles. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's very Doctor Who. I would love to see a montage of every single shot on television of a person laying in a hospital bag with a bandage on their forehead. Like just really quick, like super fast, like every one of them in the history of television.
That would take so long.
This bandaging is horrid. Whoever did that shouldn't be a doctor or a nurse.
They're in Sunnydale, so it's probably in a hurry.
I was thinking about that too. Like it looks like it looks kind of fakeish. Every person that ends up in a hospital bed has an IV for some reason.
Who just said she needs to rest now?
The nurse that
The
walked in.
nurse.
Just like an unearthed voice.
She walked in behind them. Deep body.
But maybe they
Got it.
didn't want to pay an actress, so they were like, we'll just ADR that later.
Oh, that's definitely what happened.
Right. Yeah.
Worst HIPAA violation ever here. Who is this?
HIPAA didn't exist back then, I don't think.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, it did.
Did it?
That person in the bed. Boom, I got it. That's the kid in the bed. He's in a coma. And so that little kid that's walking around the school, that's not actually the kid. That's some sort of psychic energy form of him that's like going around the school.
Manifestation.
Yeah. There's a specific term for it. It's like a psychic, not vision.
Astral projection.
Thank you. Psychic projection, like a projection, an astral projection of that kid. That's the kid in the bed. I am convinced of it. If I'm wrong, I'll eat my shoe.
Okay,
We'll
so
need a video of
That's
that.
confident.
we had Cordelia as a pink lady, and now we've got the T-Birds in the hallway. Like, what the hell is going on with this episode?
The costumer had fun.
I mean, the real nightmare is buck naked. Like that's the real terrifying one. But this was the 90s network television.
Yeah, exactly.
I will say this is kind of a monster of the week episode that seems to be mixed with a mythology episode, because I'm not seeing the connection between this psychic kid and the master.
I feel like they were stalling until the end of the season.
Hello, people. Take a look at this.
You do not need A1 sauce for your
Boom. Hey, astral projection.
Oh, you're too perceptive.
His asteroid body.
Gosh, people were just not nearly as educated on these types of things in the 90s.
Okay, we didn't have internet readily accessible. Okay.
It's also Buffy. Like she's a little. It's great.
This guy does not. This guy does not look like he wants to be a vampire.
Because he's from Little House on the Prairie. How could he ever be a vampire?
That's where I've seen him from. Thank you.
Manly. It's Laura Ingalls.
Oh
Wilde's
man,
sister.
you beat me to it. I was like, Almanzo.
Dean Butler.
What now?
Youch.
Nightmare.
Yep.
Yeah, because I was like, excuse me? And now I'm like, okay. Nightmare. That's a pretty awful nightmare.
Yeah, right. Slayer has more than just not being prepared for a test kind of nightmares, huh?
Oh, ouch, man. Creepy kid.
That was a hard speech to watch with her. It's Billy.
Oh, yes.
This would be so awful.
She totally deserves it.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, in general, not just Cordelia's. The makeup is definitely getting better.
You're kidding, right? Does that guy have a club for a hand?
Yes, he does.
Yep.
Is his
Yeah.
name Club Hand?
I'm trying to figure
He's the
this
ugly
out.
man.
That shirt that Cordelia had on, I feel like that has come back in style. I feel like I want one of those shirts.
That was a funny bit, though. You gotta be honest there. Dragging
Well,
her into the chess club.
You mean the chess club isn't cool? What was I doing?
Not in Cordelia's world, apparently.
Well, Cordelia is not cool.
Why would you go to the basement?
Right? Like, Willow, she needs to sit in a sunny patch on a lawn somewhere and just be.
Yikes.
Yeah. Remember earlier in the episode, he said his fear of being Nazis walking.
Ew.
Xander does not come across as very brilliant in this episode, does he?
Jeez. Literally like the old candy trail of candy bit. I mean, you gotta be kidding me. Xander.
I don't feel sorry for Xander. Like whatever might happen to him, it's just natural selection at this point. Like, I don't feel sorry for him at all.
Well, it's like even from the very first scene he was in, he's like the dimmest bulb in the box. It's just the way they portray him in this.
I mean, it's hilarious. It's all the candy in this.
Xander is the type of guy who would be totally tricked by that dollar bill on the floor thing, and somebody's like kind of hiding behind a corner with like the little thing that sucks it back to them, you know, like that's just meant for Xander. They are not doing a good job. They are not doing a good job of making Xander a particularly likable character, at least in this first season.
I really like him.
Stop it. Oh my God.
I can't help it. He's just, I can't help it. I just like him.
I get it though. I mean, you know.
Oh wow, is this Willow's worst nightmare?
Yeah.
Going out on stage?
Didn't you notice how much fun she had during the talent show?
Yeah, when she ran off the stage, I think you missed that part. This man, I can't think of his name. They just said it, but he's a real.
Aldo?
They're like,
Yep.
like the casting call for this was, we need a high school Pavarotti. I mean, this guy is legit. He's good.
Yeah, he's a real singer.
Come on, Willow, you can do it.
It's a nightmare. He just walked off stage.
Oh no, not a clown. Not a clown. Not a clown. Not a clown.
I
Oh,
thought you wanted to see a
Yes.
clown. Weren't you
Then
the
you
one
request
saying that you
one?
had to see a clown in this?
Yeah, did you
no,
request one last
no,
time?
I expected that there would be a clown. I don't want a clown. Who wants a clown?
Bring in the clown.
The lean against that tombstone.
It's so good.
The leather
good.
jacket just completes the whole look.
Really, it's the entire pleather fit for me. It's just so
It looks even more ridiculous out of the dungeon.
it's so
He does have very cool boots.
They were made for walking. This is actually one of Sarah Michelle Gellar's biggest fears, and she wrote production a couple times as her them not to make her do it, and the messages got lost somewhere, and so she had to do it, and it traumatized her. She cried all the way home and like most of the night.
Quote unquote got lost somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I love Giles screaming.
Oh, go Xander.
They finally have her birth year correct on the two.
This is a good year.
No kidding. I genuinely was going to say earlier in this episode, I wonder if we will ever see Buffy with vampire makeup on, just like in a dream way or something like that. I really was going to say it, and I don't know if I like kind of just got sidetracked or whatnot, but that was definitely going to be, that would have been a good one, is all I'm saying. That would have been an exciting one.
And you did say during like the second episode that it would be cool to see her in vampire gear. So the costuming prosthetic people had to were starting to work on different masks at this point, but they were all kind of made for men's faces, so they had to take one and cut like half the forehead off. So
Oh yeah, that's exactly how you wake up somebody who's in a coma. Yell at them.
no one's tried that yet.
I love this concept though, that everybody's dreams are melting into each other's, and I really like it.
And becoming reality.
Yes. It's a good concept.
He is pretty ugly.
Aptly named.
Give him a hug.
No.
I thought he was trying to take his wallet or something.
You have to face your fear? Is that part of it?
You have to rip the face off of your fear.
Okay.
Oh, now we get a little Wizard of
That's
Oz.
Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Yep. Ooh. Uh-oh. Okay, this is the trigger warning that you're talking. Oh, that was kind of sad.
Yeah. Thoughts, anybody?
I liked the puppet show a bit more than this one. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't crazy about the episode.
Yeah,
It was.
yeah.
I thought it was.
Yeah, I agree with Kendra. Like, it's really great in concept, not so much execution, but we got to know a lot about our characters and what they.
Yes, we did. I just kept thinking, if this was done now, how great it could be.
Yeah, that's true. I think that it's just there's so much. It's so similar to Nightmare on Elm Street in terms of, you know, just that trope of nightmares brought to life, but doesn't quite have the like the real horror nightmare aspect that Nightmare on Elm Street did. And it just felt a little lame.
Yeah, and they tried to put so much into it, like all of these different nightmares and everything, that it just kind of falls flat once they're all resolved, I guess.
That's it. I
Yeah.
had to say, I thought there was like a little too many nightmares, and it kind of like didn't weave anything really together in my eyes, in my opinion. And it was just kind of like, okay, what's this mean?
Yeah, totally. And the master's place in this episode seemed completely just unnecessary, ancillary, and already a boring character. And like, even could he get more boring? The answer was yes, he could. In this
the master's place in this episode, though, is Buffy's nightmares.
Yeah.
She starts out with a nightmare of him about to kill her. Then she has the nightmare that he's out from underground. I mean, that's the relevance of him. And the only other relevance of him in the beginning is when he's explaining to the Anointed One that something's changing up above, which is the fact that that kid is bringing nightmares to life with him, his asteroid body, his astro body. So, I mean, that's the only relevance. It's not part of the mythology or anything. It's just, he's just part of the nightmares for Buffy.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah,
I would have preferred that they just leave him in the mythology episodes and not bring him into a Monster of the Week.
Yeah, I get that. It was I guess whatever. And like just leading us into the fact that Buffy is one of her biggest fears is becoming a vampire. We do get to see her in the vampire gear, and the fandom kind of coined the term slay-pyre, a slayer who's also a vampire, which is kind of funny.
That's cool.
It brings up, the thought that a vampire could make a slayer turn a slayer into a vampire is kind of the first time we talked about that at all. That's cool.
I wonder if it's
and
ever happened.
The biggest fear is her dying.
I wonder if it's ever happened in the history of Slayers.
Honestly, I don't remember if we ever know or not if that's ever happened in the history of Slayers.
It's an interesting concept, the idea that there would be this Slayer in history that was like captured and turned into a vampire, and it was like, whoa, okay, what do we do now?
I don't
Like,
think
and then the question is, like, if a Slayer is turned into a vampire, an immortal creature, does that mean there is no more Slayer, and does suddenly a new Slayer get sort of born out of the vacuum that exists because that Slayer is gone? Or does the universe sort of get confused? Like, nope, there's still a Slayer around, so we can't bring another Slayer into the mix yet, but not realizing like that Slayer is actually a vampire.
Well, technically, when you're a vampire, you're dead.
That's true.
Even.
Yeah, I mean, depends on how you see it. Some might consider it to be immortal.
And it's or it could be undead. So is it?
Yeah, I mean that is the term. Undead means something that is dead that is no longer dead, right? So the vampires. I mean, it depends, I guess, on the canon, but there are plenty of vampire canons that sort of view vampirism as a route to immortality, and people want to become vampires so that they can become immortal.
All I could think of when you said that was like, what is dead may never die.
Right. Right. I'm just thinking about it, and I haven't seen much of it, but I'm thinking about just the little that I have seen of What We Do in the Shadows, the little assistant of one of the vampires who's like really
Guillermo
really wants to be a vampire, and he keeps just not getting it. But he might be at this point in the series, but I only watched like the first couple episodes of it.
Yes, that in that mythology, the familiars or the little assistants of that is their goal, is the reason why they help. They want to become one someday. That's what they think is going to happen. That's their belief. Guillermo's hilarious though. He wants to be in an interview with a vampire, which is not what the Buffy vampires are like. They're different than the Anne Rice vampires.
Yeah. We named our SUV Guillermo.
So did you guys notice that Giles, all his nightmares were related to him not either, he got lost in the stacks where when he went to research and then he couldn't find anything he wanted to find, that he couldn't make sense of words, he couldn't read anything. And it's like all of it was knowledge based except for Buffy's grave. So Giles doesn't have very scary nightmares. Well, I guess for him they would.
Yeah, his nightmares seem pretty lame.
I don't know. I think his nightmares feel like truly realistic in that the two things that he relies on is protect, like, or that he has to do is protect her. And so if she dies, he's failed. And the other is to use his knowledge and his tools in that endeavor. So if he can't use those things, I mean, those are two pretty big nightmares that could, totally, I don't know, not come true, but like, I mean, certainly Buffy dying could come true, and he might feel like it's his fault,
Yeah, that's true. That I wasn't even thinking of that one.
thing.
I was thinking more about getting lost in that.
Whereas like Xander, killer clown, a little bit sillier, or stage fright, maybe a little sillier, like those all came out of like sort of childlike
Fears,
nightmare scenarios. Yeah, whereas like his are very like, oh no, if he fails, he really fails. Like he fails hard. So
yeah, this definitely felt like the episode was inspired by it. Like it had a very it sort of thing going on, not just the clown, but just like the manifestation of nightmares and fears more than anything.
I would have been perfectly fine in this scenario. I've only remembered maybe a handful of my dreams my entire life. So, and fears, I mean, of course I have fears, but they're nothing even remotely like what all of these people are afraid of.
Well, some of the nightmares that people were having were scary. Some were dangerous. Some were just funny. I mean, to me, Cordelia's were just funny because they were more like superficial kind of fears. Like, I'll have bad hair. People will think I'm a nerd because I'm in the chess club. Like things that really aren't like any kind of can truly destroy your life kind of or kill you nightmares. And then you have, I guess those were supposed to be killer bees or something, some kind of plague. And then, it's just like all the different, it's like they kind of used every type of nightmare to come to reality all at the same time in the show. And some of them were, I mean, Xander's could kill you if he caught up to you with that knife. But Willow's, she just fails on stage.
And does everybody remember what happened? Because clearly Xander and Willow and Buffy and Giles remember what happened. So does everybody else?
You would think
It's
so.
like it's a wacky day here in Zidale.
And the other
Because
thing, the master was out. Like, so if all those things were coming to reality, the master was out from underground. But then when Billy revealed or faced his fear, the master got sucked back down. But what did he do?
I didn't interpret it that way. I interpreted it that wasn't actually the master. That was just some sort of manifestation of the master that she had created. I didn't. Just a nightmare telling her that. Like the nightmare can say anything it wants. It's just
Right, it was her dad.
Yeah, exactly. Like that wasn't her actual dad saying that, or or that her dad wasn't actually saying that. That was all just part of the nightmare. In the end, the dad arrives there, and there's no indication that he's like, "Hey, Buffy, oh my goodness, I am so sorry about what I said the other day. I don't really know why I said that." If he had done that, then I'd be like, "Oh wow, so these actual nightmares were real. They actually brought real things." But no, he didn't have any recollection of that, which means that it didn't actually happen, or it was reversed. In which case, the master's not above ground.
Right.
I don't know if you guys have noticed this yet, but every time something horrible happens that affects like the town, no one remembers it except Buffy and friends.
Yeah, that's
not
true.
always true.
No.
That's not always
remember.
true. They
just
explain some things away, but
Yeah.
sometimes they just pretend it didn't happen.
Yeah, there have been some people who have been kind of like there's some weird stuff going on here. But that's been one of my like sort of things since the beginning, is like, you know, with everything that happens here at the school, like, why isn't this more national news? You know, like, why aren't people talking about this like crazy? I mean, the biggest one being their principal was eaten, you know, like eaten by wolves. I'm sorry, but like, even just that alone seems like national news. Could you imagine if any principal in all of the United States was eaten by a pack of wolves? That would be on every news channel, like CNN, Fox News, everyone would talk about the weirdest thing ever. And so it just, that part of it is the part that like, I still need a little bit of connective tissue for me to like understand how that's possible.
Karen, you should say that out loud. What you
Oh,
just
I shouldn't though.
Yes, you should.
Why not?
I told Chris that I kind of feel like the Buffy world really isn't exactly our world. Like it is a little bit of a fairy tale world to me. So then it makes sense.
Yeah, it is. In the world, it's hard to forget that television now doesn't really like it tries to do its best to not have to, like, for you, the audience, to not have to do as much work to suspend your disbelief, right? Like back in the 90s, a show like this asked you that, like said, look, you know, we get it. Like, this is not real. These are not real. These things are not real. Like, we need you to do a little work here, which is suspend your disbelief for the next half hour, right? But now modern television tries to be as realistic as possible to like lower the amount of that work that audiences have to do. And it's hard to switch your brain back and forth from that, that way of thinking, because if this was created today, there's no question that they would need to answer all of those things, because modern shows just don't work unless they remove that aspect of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, y'all, it was a good time. Well, we'll see you Monday.
Monday, we got out of mind, out of sight.
Yes.
Ooh, little reversal there on the expression. And then we've got Prophecy Girl coming up right after.
That's the last
one. And then that's the end of the season. Can we defeat the Master by the end of episode 12?
do you think we can?
I hope we can. I really truly hope we can. I don't know. That's 2 episodes. There isn't a lot that we've been given to suggest that we're like things are coming to a head with that whole storyline.
Have we done? Because we haven't even been back to that storyline in so long.
I know. There's just not enough. There's not enough to suggest that, like, everything is sort of racing to this like pinnacle, and that worries me a little bit. That, like,
maybe
until season 2.
Maybe it won't be Buffy who defeats him. It'll be somebody else. Like I don't know. That's a possibility. It wouldn't be as sweet if it wasn't Buffy, but still, it would do the job and we'd get rid of him.
Yeah, it really would do the job.
Like maybe
I gotta
he
tell you,
gets out and trips over a bench and gets like impaled by the bench and
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I would love it. If that happened, like just accidentally slips on a banana peel and just like, and then just gone. And everyone's like, really? Okay, let's go.
I mean, they
The
had
end.
Xander like chasing a trail of chocolate. Like,
Yes,
I think
it could really happen. Oh my goodness. You're giving me hope. You're giving me hope that if the master slips on a banana peel and falls onto somebody's like little garden stakes that they've put around, like a little garden fence stake of those little, you know what I'm talking about.
yeah.
And if the master slips on a random banana peel that would be right next to a person's garden for whatever strange reason, somebody was eating a banana right next to it, and falls on that, and then just puff into like a thing of smoke before we even get to any sort of a fight scene, just happens randomly, like in the first 5 minutes of the episode.
They could do
Great.
just like with
I would
Xander.
consider it the greatest thing to ever happen on television.
Maybe they'll
Honestly,
take scenes from this episode and leave like a trail of blood, and then have him trip over it into the.
Yeah, I just think that the more unexpected it is, like the more it just happens out of nowhere. Maybe he's having like a conversation, he's just talking, and then just whoop, gone. And everyone's just like standing there like frozen for a second, like, what do we do now?
If that happens,
we've got like a half hour more of this episode. What do we do? I don't know.
The master's like officially my favorite character. If that's
Yes.
if that's how it goes. Number one favorite character. Love him.
Definitely, I would have so much respect for the writing. I really would.
I'm writing this prediction down.
Yeah.
I wish we had Snyder and got to see what his nightmare was.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, that would have been.
He was missing in this episode. And it makes me wonder if this episode could have been placed anywhere in the season and they just happened to throw it in. This episode 10.
I was thinking that, like, what if this episode happened in a couple of seasons? Like, what would it be different? What would be different about it? I think it might be more interesting.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, well, I obviously had to take place after episode 5 because the Anointed One was there in this episode. So maybe they did have it planned for the spot. But Xander's so dumb in this episode, like way below average intelligence.
Yeah, I mean the just like following a trail of chocolate bars, like it is. I want to say that's from something. That's a nod to something goofy.
Well, I mean, it's from what, like the trail of candy and the gingerbread house to the house, but
Hansel and Gretel.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to say that somebody's actually done like exactly that with like chocolate bars, like that it's actual chocolate bars. Maybe like Willy Wonka or something. Is it a Wonka thing?
I can't recall. I mean, it kind of gave me Trick or Treat vibes, but I know that scene that you're describing isn't in that film. It's a kid just gorging himself on chocolate.
Yeah, the only one I can, like with the trail of candy, I can think of is E.T. following the trail of candy, but that's like not.
I just read a back channel message that came in during the episode from Shelley that I thought was funny. She said baby Ruth. That's what I thought the ugly man would say, but at first I read it, I was like baby Ruth, and then I remembered baby Ruth.
Oh my goodness.
from Goonies.
Oh, Julie sent me a message and she said chitty chitty bang bang.
Did somebody in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang like get tricked by a trail of chocolate bars?
I guess so.
Here she comes.
Oh,
coming.
heck, I'm up here. Okay. Remember the child snatcher?
I don't know. I haven't seen Shitty Shitty
No.
Bang Bang.
Oh my goodness. It's I mean we could go off on a total tangent here, but it is the best. You're gonna laugh when I say this, some people may. It is the best James Bond movie ever.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
the book was written by Ian Fleming. It was produced by Cubby
Oh, wow.
Broccoli. It's got all the James Bond stuff in it. So I'm just saying.
Cool.
I never
seen
thought of
it.
that way.
I've seen it, but it's been a very, very long time.
But anyway,
It's-
I won't spoil for anyone who hasn't seen it, but there's anyway, just watch the movie.
Or the trailer. Okay. Oh, okay.
I have to say, part of the reason I love Xander was clearly like in this episode. It is because he's just so dumb. I love him for that reason. It's so cute to me. I don't know why. I
You
just
like your
love
men
it.
dumb.
I was
that
gonna
what you're
say,
saying?
is that like criteria for the
I
people
don't
that you
know.
that you love most? The dumber they are.
She's like, oh, look at him. But you know, like he is the only one in the episode who actually confronted his fear face on. He punched the clown out and he felt like very liberated. So he's the only one that actually head on went to it.
Yeah.
We can give that to him.
Just this once, but he's on thin ice.
Well, you didn't get your wish of more Angel either.
No, I mean, once I realized that it was a movie of the week episode, sorry, a monster of the week episode, I was like, oh, we're not getting Angel.
Angel could have had some interesting nightmares too.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, right, yeah. Although his nightmares might have been a little too much for
Network television.
TV.
For network
Yeah.
TV.
I mean,
Do vampires have nightmares though? Angel has a soul, so he very much could have nightmares.
yeah, he
Yeah,
could
I
because
feel
he's
like
cursed.
there were some ideas, you know, that were sort of hinted at and maybe seen superficially during his episode, you know, that could have possibly been explored in depth here, but I agree. I think they would have been a little too dark for darker
maybe
than
he-
like what was already presented here tonight.
Maybe he would have relived the things he actually did.
Yeah,
while he's a
exactly.
vampire.
Yeah.
Because those are his nightmares right now, and that's what the curse does to him, makes him feel all that regret and remorse and everything. So yeah,
Yeah.
if he's as bad as the Watcher's Journal says,
Right.
he was a vampire.
Remember.
This
Remember,
episode is
8,
three.
I Robot You
Witch.
Jane. Yeah. Remember 7, Angel. Remember 10, Nightmares. Remember 9, The Puppet Show.
Now, after the puppet show, this episode's super disappointing, right? After seeing Sid,
I feel like they put so much effort
Yeah.
into that one that
I
it's just
mean, yeah, you really like this episode to follow the puppet show was just it was definitely not like it didn't live up to what we got in the puppet show, unfortunately.
yeah, like maybe they should have reversed them.
Yeah.
I will
But you
say
know,
that
next
I think-
episodes. Oh no,
Go
go on.
ahead, Tom. Go.
I was just gonna say next episode is second to last. So you know I'm typically all about penultimate episode. Like I like penultimate episodes usually better than finale episodes. At least I'd say in the last 10 years they've been they've usually been the better of the two. I don't know whether that was the case in the 90s, but I think that they're usually the place where you would put a season's climax in, because just and it just narratively, structurally, it would work best in the penultimate episode than in the finale. The finale should really be a little bit more of like a denouement.
I feel like I can't say anything here.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know where to go from here.
It's like it went silent. It's like, oh.
Is it because you guys are like, oh no, he's gonna be disappointed with the penultimate episode?
It's just
Uh-oh.
Well, it's just like
I don't
like
know
if
what to say.
when you say things, it's hard to like you can't really confirm or deny anything because then if you confirm or deny, are you giving things away?
Oh no. Okay. I gotta be prepared
That's
for a
style
I gotta be
disappointment.
I gotta be prepared for a stinker.
maybe Angel will get a different jacket in the penultimate.
gosh. I hope he doesn't get it from the master, who had a terrible jacket on in this episode too.
What? You don't like that
You don't want
leather
some
outfit?
leather? Come on now. Come on.
Oof.
I'd like to
The
think
master serving some looks here.
He's serving
I'd like to
leather
think
business.
I'd like to think that Angel has better taste, but I don't think we've seen it. So I don't know.
No, I mean that jacket that Angel had in the first episodes, or the episode where he gave her his leather jacket. He gave her a leather jacket. It looked just like the master's leather jacket. It's like that's what they wear down in the underworld. They all wear black leather jackets.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I'm surprised that like
It's
when
like a
Buffy got
there's like a
turned into
Burling
vampire,
there's like a Burlington
didn't
coat
wear-
factory down there, like just with it's like just nothing but black leather jackets in it.
Oh my god. I would do anything to get like a pan of the master's lair and there's just some vampire in the corner making leather jackets. That would be
Or like
excellent.
he wakes up to get dressed and he looks in his closet and it's just the same leather jacket.
It's like
Yes.
it's like
And thank you, by the way, for correcting me on that. Not leather. Those are pleather.
Oh,
all
those
of
are-
them.
All
It is
pleather.
pleather.
Those are 1997 pleather jackets. Even Buffy's jacket today, I loved. I loved the powder blue jacket that like looks like leather, but definitely is not. I had that jacket in black. Like I had that exact jacket in black, and like it was really sweaty because it was definitely not leather. Like
No,
it's
no
plastic.
breathability to those jackets, Diana.
Oh my gosh.
None whatsoever.
That was like there were a lot of those in the 90s. You're right though, because I remember when we used to go out. I mean, and living in Minnesota, people always were looking for things that were warm for bar nights in the winter. And lots of people had not real leather, but pleather stuff, and you know, spill a drink on it, wipes right off, doesn't stain it or ruin it. But yeah, there was a lot of that back then.
So basically what we're saying is the penultimate episode is going to be an angel makeover montage. The whole thing. Like Pretty Woman.
Yeah. Big mistake, he's gonna say to somebody who won't sell him something in the shop.
Think of that.
I would love an angel makeover scene montage with like supermodel like over it, you know, like a good soundtrack over it.
He's gonna be a supermodel, that one. Oh my
It would
God.
definitely work. It
Yes.
would definitely work with the time, with the decade.
100%.
Super
Like
model.
it would be a total like homage to Clueless, but like also just excellent.
To have the scene with Ty when they're dyeing her hair, except this angel like flipping his hair back with red.
Exactly. But it all
Plastic
happens at
tips.
night. It all happens at night because he's a vampire. So like
He would have to have frosted tips though if he changed his hair for the 90s.
Oh, true.
Wait a sec. Yeah, wait
My
a second. Where are all the frosted tips? We don't get any frosted tips in this series, and they should be everywhere. They should be
a couple years.
everywhere.
No, it's a couple of years, and I'll tell you why. Because the year after this premiered, Dawson's Creek premiered, and in season 2, there's a big Frosted Tips episode.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
that's how I
had frosted tips in '99. So
Yes.
you're right.
Yes.
You are
99,
right.
Did
and it was a
Dawson's
big
Creek
moment.
start it?
Huh?
Is that why frosted tips became big because it was on Dawson's Creek?
No, Dawson's Creek was like, oh, everyone has frosted tips. It was like whatever
boy band
boy
stuff
band
in
was
like
doing
Yeah,
it.
boy
in
band.
'98.
I think it was Justin Timberlake was 2000 though, so it wasn't like quite there, but like it was already cool, and that's why on Dawson's Creek they did it, because it was like, well, I gotta be cool, right? Like that's the new look. So sometime in the
Vanilla
summer
Ice?
of 99 or
It
the
was-
summer of 98 to 99.
Yeah,
that's
it was
when-
'98 because that's when Sugar Ray came out with Fly, and he
God,
had those damn
It's
frosted
Sugar
tips.
Ray's fault. It's
So,
Sugar
yeah.
Ray's fault. Holy moly.
You know,
I
I
just
watched a documentary and Lance Bass actually mentioned that in the documentary. He was saying how like it wasn't big and he ended up having to do it because of a really bad haircut or something like that. But shortly after that, that's when Sugar Ray came out with it too.
Yep, Sugar Ray. It's
Oh,
all marked.
This is now my thesis, and I'm gonna like write a paper on it. For sure.
well,
I want to know.
John, who inspired your frosted tips, John?
I don't know. I just feel like at that time there was like frosted tips were kind of a thing, and I just decided I'd get some frosted tips. I decided I'd frost those tips.
We need to see a picture.
Did you decide that the girl who told you about the dolls you needed to show her come to school with like really cool hair?
I mean, that was like I'd say a good 15 years or
Doesn't
longer.
matter.
I guess. That would
Doesn't
be
matter.
like,
Sometimes you need to.
I was in. No, I didn't. I mean, no. I was living in Chicago at that time, so I wasn't anywhere near that girl. But I mean, I don't know what her reaction would have been if she had seen my frosted tips.
I'm sure she got the
Did you
frosted
have a
tip
pleather
vibes from you, though.
jacket to go with it?
But no.
Your frost.
No, you know what though? Actually, I had a rubber jacket. I had I had a rubber jacket back in like the late 90s. The area of town that I lived in Chicago was this kind of well, it was called Wicker Park, which is, the movie Wicker Park. Takes place in Wicker Park. It was like a real big artist haven, and there were a lot of like really cool underground boutiques, and so there was like a whole fashion thing going on in that area of town. And I remember I bought at this boutique there, I bought this like really cool rubber jacket, like that was like rubber. I mean, it was made out of like full on rubber, and it was just kind of awesome. And I wish that I had that thing. But it was like,
Was it lined?
it was rubber. I mean, what's up?
Did they have a lining in it? I mean, like, wouldn't that just get really hot?
Yeah, it got extremely hot. Yeah, it was not comfortable to wear at all. It was black, so it was like it looked kind of like it was trying to be a leather jacket, but it was a black rubber jacket. And yeah, I mean, you would wear it for like 5 minutes, and you were drenched. I mean, like you'd take it off, and people were like, "Oh my God, did you go swimming?" Like it was. Like,
Ew.
It was just the I'm gonna.
It was just like on the out.
jacket.
Yeah, it was really just complete like style over function. Yeah, you didn't want to take it off. But I mean, during the winter, it was actually, because Chicago has really bitter cold winter. So in the winter, it was actually pretty cool, like to have a rubber jacket that, really insulated you from that bitter cold.
You had two functions. It kept you warm, and the snow and ice just slid right off.
Yes.
It didn't
Yes.
seep through your clothing.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically like, like a raincoat, basically. Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, a rain jacket, a raincoat.
A slightly different version of a raincoat.
Yes, now that I think about it, I bought a raincoat. I bought a raincoat that was marketed as some cool hip jacket.
Probably completely overpriced.
Yes, very overpriced.
Did it have a collar and lapels and everything?
It did. It had a collar on it.
Interesting.
I have to find a picture of it. It's somewhere, and I still think about that rubber jacket every once in a while. There are a few things that I owned, like clothing things that I owned that I don't know what happened to them, but they were like really a big part of like they kind of defined me for periods of time. The rubber jacket, definitely one of them. I also had this like red windbreaker that I actually, it was named Dope Red Windbreaker. Or for short, I just called it Dope Red. And I wore Dope Red every single day. People just knew me as like, oh, hey, look, it's Cabrera, like in his Dope Red windbreaker.
Did they say it to you like in his Dope Red?
They might have, because I might have called it that in front of them, and they were like, really? Okay.
Wait, was that also in Chicago?
It was all in Chicago. Yeah. Oh, I
Wow.
love that. I love that windbreaker. I miss that windbreaker. That thing was so light. I mean, you could take it off and then just roll it, like squeeze it into a ball and stick it in your pocket, and then take it out and put it on. It was a little wrinkly, if after it had been in your pocket for a while, but it still looked cool. The wrinkles were, almost kind of gave it this like nice, interesting, strange texture. Gosh, I miss Dope Red. What else? I'm trying to think.
Sounds like you had a collection of coats.
Yeah, I was. Coats. I like. There was just like things. There was this like pair of like bright yellow fluorescent sneakers that I had for a while. I had this pair of bright.
Tell me you wore that with Dope Red.
I don't think so. They weren't around at the same time. They didn't meet each other.
Bummer.
I told the sneakers about Dope Red. The sneakers would have liked to have met Dope Red. Dope Red was around and did know this pair of bright green, like Kelly green corduroy bell bottoms that I had for a while. Back in the 90s.
Wait, so did the frosted tips meet Dope Red? And
oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. The frosted tips that was like right in the heart of the time of Dope Red. I don't know what happened to Dope Red, but it's gone. I found something similar. I found something similar and I bought it. I still have it. I got it at American Apparel back when American Apparel was a thing, back in like the, in the aughts. But it's not the same. It has like a cinch, like, kind of like a cinchy wrist things and a cinchy waist thing. And Dope Red didn't have either of those.
Do you have pictures of you with Dope Red?
I mean, I don't know. I don't have a lot of pictures from Chicago, so I don't know if I do.
You should ask Sean.
Dope Red and the tips and the rubber jacket.
Sean knows Dope Red. I mean, Sean fully knows Dope Red and probably would call it Dope Red.
But he might have a picture of you in Dope Red. That's what I mean.
He might.
You should ask him.
He might. He might.
You and Sean have not written a comic book that like the superhero is Dope Red with the frosted tips. Like, I don't understand why this has not happened.
And then he can play Dope Red in the movie.
100%.
Well, yeah. Next time we have Sean on for something, we can certainly ask him about Dope Red. I'm sure he'll be like, oh yeah, Dope Red was a huge part of our lives for a while.
Okay, so here's the question. Did Dope Red exist at the same time as your plant that you were growing?
Yes, Dope Red knew the plant very well. Dope Red knew the plant.
The whole picture's coming together now.
Yes.
Does Babsy know this version of you?
I don't know if I've told her about Dope Red in more than just maybe briefly mentioning it, but I've got, like I said, there, like every once in a while, especially if I take that the windbreaker that I have from American Apparel out, I will get like a little wistful about Dope Red. I'll be like, oh man, I had this windbreaker once. It was just so awesome.
That's
the lone
touching, John.
tear just escaped. from
Yeah,
his
just
eye
one.
as he like yearns about dope bread.
His world goes in slow motion.
That's where the book starts, is the look back on Dope Red. I mean, that's where it starts. That's the
I
beginning.
wonder how dope that windbreaker actually looked to outsiders. It felt so dope to me, but I wonder if I looked at it now, if I'd be like, whoa, that thing was not fitting you right, or something.
Not
Like, I don't know.
Did Dope
That
Red
was
have a
not
hood?
dope.
Show us pictures and then we could judge you on that.
Yeah, it did not have a hood. It did not have a hood. It was very simple. It didn't
quarter
have
zip?
it didn't have a weight. No, it zipped all the way up. It had like, what's the collar that is just straight around, without the it didn't have a butterfly collar. It had just the straight collar. It didn't have wrist cinchers. It didn't have a waist cincher, like this kind of cloth waist cincher type thing. It was just straight, just went straight. And because of it, it made it so incredibly light. And like I said, I mean, you could take it off and you could just squeeze it into a ball and just put it right in your pocket. And then just, that's it. And then when you're done, you put it on. I rode my bike a lot. I was really, really, really into biking, city biking, when I was living in Chicago. Like, I just biked everywhere, every day of the year. It was just like, that was my car. Right? That's how I got around everywhere in Chicago. And Dope Red was a very important part of that, because it's windy and you're biking, and it just kept me really, it broke the wind. I'll just say it like that. While I was riding my bike, it was my protector. Yeah.
I feel like I know Deep Red now, or Deep Red. Dope
Not
Red.
Deep Red. That's like, that sounds like a James Bond. That's a spy thriller. Deep Red.
Deep Red.
No, Dope Red. I'm wondering if I have a picture somewhere of Dope Red somewhere. I have to. I mean, I had it all the way until I left Chicago, and I don't know. Maybe I lost it in the move to Los Angeles.
If you had a picture of Dope Red frosted tips next to your plant, that'd be the best.
Yes, the trifecta.
That you don't. I wouldn't have any hope for that, because I don't have any pictures of the plant. But you might get a picture of me wearing Dope Red, and it's possible that I had frosted tips, or maybe the tips were like, kind of like, just like they had already grown out mostly, and maybe there's just like a little bit of remnants of it.
Okay, so homework assignment: Dope Red and the rubber jacket. Looking for pictures of those.
Wait, what color was the rubber jacket?
Black. It was a black rubber jacket. Yeah.
So that's why it kind of looked like leather.
Yeah, I like that jacket. But not nearly. It didn't have nearly the meaning as Dope Red had, because I had that windbreaker and wore it religiously every day, really, for years, years, to the point where it's like, I think if you just thought of John Cabrera, all you saw was a red windbreaker on him.
You would have been a boring target for the paparazzi back in those days with Dope Red. You would have looked the same in every picture, is what you're saying.
Yeah, candy apple red, I mean, really bright red. It was nice. It was really nice.
Cool.
I'm hoping for Angel to have a Dope Red in the next episode montage.
Or a rubber jacket. Imagine
rubber jacket.
Angel with a rubber jacket.
That's what we're doing.
Like that.
Okay, and on that note,
tips. Thanks for sharing. The Dope Red was much more interesting than the nightmares, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that with us.
Yeah, the nightmares were. Yeah, this episode will be forgotten. And if I was going to watch episodes of this season over again, it wouldn't be one of the ones that I would watch. I would probably watch The Puppet Show and Angel right now, are the two that I Witch, Angel, and The Puppet Show are the three, I think, of this season that are the standouts. The real standouts are those three.
You're lining up with Buffy
it would
fans
have
on that.
been it would have been more beneficial for this episode to have come after I Robot You Jane, because I feel like that episode was so disappointing for me. And
Oh,
anything after
gosh.
that would have been like a gem.
Oh gosh.
So-
I Robot You Jane just was ridiculous with
Oh my
that like
gosh.
weird robot demon. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah, but she
not-
couldn't kick for
not
some
into
reason. It
it.
was too hard for her to kick, and what?
Yeah, I Robot You Jane. The teacher's pet, just not into it. I don't even really, to be honest with you, even remember what happened in Never Kill a Boy on the First Date. I kind of just remember that guy at the very end being kind of like, hey, are we gonna go like hang out and go on some more adventures together? And that's like really the only thing I remember. I really just don't even remember what happened in the episode.
Isn't that the
Um,
episode we found out about Giles a little bit about his history?
Yeah, about him wanting to be a fighter
That's
pilot.
part of the
We
episode.
did.
Yeah. Oh, but I was talking during that part.
Yeah.
That was that's true, because somebody was like, hey, stop talking. The most interesting part is right now. So yeah, I mean, like the three episodes that I remember very, very, very well are The Witch, Angel, and The Puppet Show. I remember like scenes like crazy, and that's because I was really leaned forward in that episode.
Yeah.
In those episodes, I was really leaned forward. I was really like captivated and wanted to know what happens next. And you know, sadly, I'll say, as much as I didn't enjoy the episode for a variety of reasons we've talked about before, I do unfortunately remember pretty much everything in the pack.
Yep, it sticks with you.
Yeah.
It does stick with you. Yeah, it does.
All of my favorite episodes have been Monster of the Week episodes. I didn't like Robot You, Jane. That one, no. But the rest of them, I loved all of them. I really like this one.
That totally makes sense too.
Yeah. You know, like I think I told you earlier, Chris, like I've watched, you know, this season twice now, like putting down notes and everything, and I still forget this episode. Like I just watched it like a couple of days ago just to refresh myself, and I still today, when you're asking about it, I was like, what happened? Yeah, okay.
Well, that's why when I wrote you back, I said, well, it's not as boring as I remember, because there were things that actually made me laugh, but it's not an episode I revisit very often. I agree with you, John, and I think most people who are fans of Buffy, when they think of season one, it's Witch, Angel,
Puppet Show,
the Puppet Show, and then I do like Prophecy Girl, but it might also be because it's the end of the season.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the next episode, you know, has its things.
Oh no. Now I'm spoiled. It's a stinker. Great. Okay. Well,
It may not be a stinker.
so before I head out, I gotta run. I've got some sushi waiting downstairs for me.